Mic check, mic check, mic check. Let me hear you.
Mic check.
Let me hear you.
Mic check, mic check.
Mic check.
Yeah, we're
mic
good.
check.
We're good.
Sound
Sounds
low.
good.
Sound low.
He always has something to say. He's
I
a sassy.
do.
That's why I say sassy right here.
I
You
said
sound.
I'm
You sound. No, it's all the same. All of
Just
them are
raise your
exact.
chair.
Stupid. Hello. It sounds low.
You can reach a little
You
bit.
really sound like everybody else. And we are live. You can catch us on YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, and Twitch. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And we'll be right back with you, Howlers. We'll be right back.
Mireles.
Okay. Howls over Baaz. I'm Jacob Casas.
I'm Rico Savage.
And it's Melanie.
And today we have an entrepreneurship segment. This is our, well, I'm going to actually let him tell you guys what this segment's more about. But yeah, so we got the Undertaker up in here right now.
Y'all want to see their body?
So we got Mireles over here today, coming all the way from LA. And I'm going to have him introduce himself to you guys. He's going to tell you guys a little bit about who he is and what he does.
Well, like you said, my name is Mario Mireles, 18-plus year professional in the funeral industry, 8-plus year professional in the funeral insurance industry. I pretty much oversee funerals throughout Southern California and Northern Cal, from repatriations to burials, cremations. I work with various organizations like the Victim of Crime Unit with the District Attorney's Office, to other organizations that help when somebody passes away at a young age to help do the funeral services for them.
Okay, and we were talking a little bit behind the scenes and stuff like that because a lot of people I didn't know for years how lucrative that business is. Can you tell people?
Yeah.
Well, first we should know why is it so lucrative?
Not every day.
You never
Explain.
set
They're
up.
here
You've
every
never
day.
set up your
Well,
pod or you know what I
well,
mean. You have all that information. You have to start planning, and it's like no one ever wants to plan for their death, but it's
No.
so expensive.
It does get expensive, right? Like usually when we have an educational event, we usually tell them, does anybody have $35,000 available somewhere in the sock drawer to spend on a funeral? Because that's what it costs nowadays.
That's crazy.
Right.
35,000.
$35,000, right? So nobody really has that available. So that's where the insurance part comes about, the pre-planning comes about, which is, the funeral insurance, right? But yeah, like I said, most people don't have that. So what do? They go with the most affordable option, which is a cremation.
Mm-hmm.
So they leave aside all the traditions, leave aside all
The burial plot,
exactly everything.
the casket.
Yeah,
all
to do a direct cremation, or worse than that is when they just lose their loved one to the county morgue.
It's a good thing that I met you though, man, because now I can get if I die, get a funeral homie hookup. You know what I mean? I just like
That's my boy.
I wouldn't even know.
So is the burial insurance, is that the same thing or part of the same thing as your life insurance, the whole package deal, or
So here's the
how
thing.
does that work?
So here's the thing. Life insurance is important. It's extremely important for those who qualify. But I tell everyone, life insurance is like a credit card. You have to qualify for it. If you have any type of health issues, guess what? You don't qualify. Then you don't have life insurance. So that's where the funeral insurance comes in. So there's an insurance called pre-need, right? Pre-need funeral insurance that handles burials and handles funerals. It's two different entities, right? But let's just say for a funeral, you get a pre-need for $7,000, which is the average here in California for a funeral. And the cemetery, you're going to get it for about $25,000, which is the average here in California. So you got to get two different insurances to be able to cover that, because unfortunately, not everybody qualifies for life insurance. Life insurance is a good thing, but not everybody qualifies for that.
Yeah, a lot of people can get life insurance through their business, like their company.
Yeah.
Like a company that I worked for, I had life insurance because I was a manager of a lot of companies that I worked for. So I would get life insurance. I got $500,000, or some people get $1 million life insurance policy. But I'm sure I know they don't get all that. You know what I'm saying?
But here's the thing with life insurance, right? You may get life insurance, and I've, again, 18 plus years in the industry, I've seen a lot of things that take place when it comes to the insurance side of it. I've had somebody pay their insurance religiously for years. When the inevitable happens, they got $16,
damn.
right? So I had
That's
another
so
one.
sad.
Yeah.
And then they're paying all this money for that life insurance.
They're
That's crazy.
working, and then they're
I
working
mean,
to
and you ain't
pay
gonna
the life
know
insurance.
until you
It's like,
die. So how could you know that
Right.
shit?
Right, so some people have like, oh, they'll tell you, oh, you know what, you're gonna get this specific insurance. You get the insurance, you start paying it, and you know, I had this one gentleman as an example. I had this one gentleman had been paying his insurance for about 30 years through his job, everything. So when he finally passed on, the wife came and said, I have insurance. When we ran the insurance, it turns out it was an accidental life insurance he had been paying for 30 years. He died of a heart attack. Zero coverage.
Damn.
So the family had to come out of pocket.
So accidental is more like if
That's
you were in a traffic
crazy.
accident or something,
Any
like
type of accident.
like a freak accident at
I'd be
work
like, I
or
accidentally had a heart
something.
attack, you know?
Yeah,
Like,
no.
You can't accidentally have a heart attack.
That would fall under the life insurance.
I was
That's crazy.
accidentally
part.
scared him. That's what I was just start making some shit up.
So yeah, it has to be either like if you if you get life insurance, you have to know exactly what type of life insurance fits your
Yeah.
needs. You can't just get any type of life insurance.
Yeah.
Right? There's so many types of life insurance that people get fooled into getting a life insurance, and at the end of the day, it doesn't cover anything.
But that's wild though. Like you can't get insurance if you have any medical problems, but it's for like
Well,
So you have to be
can.
healthy in
You
order
just gotta
have to
pay
be-
attention to what
Well-
you're the
but you have
plan
to be
you're
healthy.
getting.
But the crazy part is you have to be healthy in order to get life insurance. But life insurance is
Yeah.
for when you
Yeah, you're
die,
screwed.
though.
You're like you can't breathe.
Right,
No,
and
or-
you're overweight.
or you
so
know what they
this is
do?
what's gonna happen. So
You know what they do? I've noticed because I work in the medical field too. Is that if you do have like you have to qualify, but certain like Sedgwick, MetLife, all these insurance companies, there's stipulations. So if you have some kind of health issue, they want to know how long you've had it. They want to know more details. Sometimes you'll qualify, but if you do qualify, you're going to pay a higher rate rather than someone that's healthy and younger that doesn't have
Yeah,
any
yeah.
medical issues. So I've seen that too, which
Yeah.
is it sucks because it's like he said, if you don't know what you're paying for, you're wasting money on.
And a lot of
an
people
insurance
don't.
policy.
A lot of them aren't going to know. We pay all kinds of stuff that we don't know what we're paying
Yeah.
for, and it just happens all the time.
Yeah.
But I do want to get into like a lot of the background of that business. I want you to, because that's where like how lucrative it is, how much money you're making. Like you won't have to go in specifics,
Yeah.
but I mean, because people are not going to say, hey, I'm going to start a funeral business. Nobody thinks that,
Well, let me start with this, right? Again, when I do events, I usually tell everybody the story, right? Well, in the funeral industry, it's simple. You don't choose it, it chooses you. So you may want to get into the funeral industry, but if it's not meant for you, it'll kick you out within a couple of weeks.
Why is that?
It's just some people can handle it.
'Cause of
some
the
people
death?
can't. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we deal with so much death and so many. It's a lot
It's
of things we
hard.
see. Yeah, there's a lot of things we see.
A lot of emotions go
Yeah.
through you a lot, right?
But not only that, when you're back there in the prep rooms and you see all the bodies, there's certain things that not everybody can see.
Because they're
Right.
getting like ripped apart. They're getting stuff taken out of them, and
I mean, if you can see,
You
if
have
see
to have
an
a strong
autopsy-
stomach, I feel
Absolutely.
too. Strong
So-
stomach, strong heart.
And the thing is, sometimes
Rico's already scared right now. Like
I'm just listening. Everybody gonna be on that table one day. You, me, everybody gonna be on that one table.
Everybody,
The
right?
Y shaped on them.
everybody. So that's the thing. Not everybody's meant for it. Now, if you are meant to be in that business and that business does choose you, you better make peace with the fact that you're going to do it for the rest of your life. Like, I already made peace with the idea that this is something that I'm going to do for the rest of my life. No matter what other businesses I get into, this is something that I actually try to leave 3 times in the 18 year span.
why is that? Because of the death and all the emotions, or
It gets to you after a while, right? They
Damn.
say that like when you're doing that, it went through like it was a specific time, and
was it like when you're newer, like when you first got into it?
when I
That
first
time?
got into it, it was crazy. But no, this was a couple of years after. I started doing a lot of kid cases,
Ooh.
right? And they say
That would
the
break my heart.
heaviest
Oh my
heaviest casket to carry is that of a child. And I'm a 100% believer in that, right? When you're carrying the casket of a child, it's not only the weight of the casket, but it's the emotional weight too. And I think that's what makes it so difficult. So there was a period of time where I was doing multiple. It just started getting difficult and more difficult because I was associating it to my kids.
Yeah.
And then I started getting to the whole I'm looking at my kids and I'm looking. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna start doing something else. I'm gonna get into real estate. I'm gonna get into, and I started to leave. And then some of my old clients called me because a lot of my business, believe it or not, is through referrals, right? So some of them called me and, hey, Mario, we need your help. And I was like, well, one more time. I'm just gonna help them one more time. And I'm back in the business again. That happened to me 3 times. And the 3 times, so once the third time I came back, I said, you know what? I made peace with the idea that I'm doing it for the rest of my life. No matter what else I do, I'm going to continue doing this. And it's a very
It's heavy.
good business to be in as far as the emotional side of it, it is difficult. But when you help families out, it just makes it so much.
Have you had to do it where it's your family?
Yes.
Actually, how does
it's difficult. It's really difficult. I've been doing it for, like I said, I've been doing it for many years. I had to dress my dad so my dad passed on.
Sorry.
No worries. But I had to dress him, which made it was myself. It was two of my brothers and my sister. So we had to do. I mean, we didn't have to. We chose to do it, right?
Right.
But that was probably the most difficult because I had never lost. Well, I lost cousins and whatnot, right? But I never lost somebody so close to me.
Yeah.
Until that moment. So even if you're in that business, it just hits you different, right? And to me, it's like if you haven't lost a parent, you will never associate with that pain of losing a parent.
I know. Yeah.
If you haven't lost a child, you will never associate. So all my clients will tell you. I tell them, like when they lose a child, I tell them there's no way I could even begin to understand what you're going through.
Yeah.
Because it's just it's difficult, right? And you don't want to. I mean, I don't want to understand it. I don't want to know that.
It changes you, especially when you're losing a parent. You see that person every
Yeah.
day for your whole life, and they're gone. That changes you.
So let me ask you, how, before we get into all that other stuff, how do you deal with that? So how do you, because I mean, I feel like you probably have to like prepare yourself at certain points, but how do you, I mean, because
I don't think you can prepare yourself.
you live your life, right? You have to continue your life and live. So I'm talking about like having to deal with all this death. What do you do to deal with that? Like what is your core? Like what do you go to? Like what do you do?
I think you get to a point where you get desensitized.
That's what I was thinking.
So it gets to a point where at the beginning, yes, you have to deal with it, from the smells to, the textures, from everything, right? To where you desensitize. You just don't have, it's sad as it sounds, because it is sad to an extent.
But
Things
it's understandable.
are no longer there, right? Like I could walk into a room filled with bodies and not have a reaction. Whereas if you walk into the same room, it'll impact you in a whole different way.
Yeah.
When you're in that industry, that's what I'm telling you, that when that industry chooses you, that's exactly what happens. And that happens to every funeral professional, because we're all able to do it the same way. That's just me. It's every funeral professional that does it like that.
So let me ask you, how did you even get into it then?
That's the funny story, brother. Oh my God. And I do tell this story when we do events, right? So I come from retail management. I was a manager for a couple of the retail stores. I worked in the loss prevention department for the stores. I ran over 60 stores. So I just got tired of retail. Tired, right? Those crazy hours, you're never home. I just got fed up with retail. I said, I'm out of here. I'm just going to find something else. I found a marketing job. So I get into this marketing job. I apply for it, it's in front of a funeral home. So, I thought I was confused, right? Like everybody else, you get into front of a funeral home, and you're confused. So they brought me in, did the interview. I said, no, this is only going to be like a temporary thing. I'm only going to do this for about a week or so. I'm going to look for something else. And once I was in there, it slowly started taking place where I was helping out with the removals, helping out with the prep room, helping little things out.
Damn.
So it was part of the funeral home.
It was a marketing department for the funeral home.
Oh, okay.
So I would go speak to the administrators of hospitals, to convalescent homes, to consulates.
Damn.
And I was just out and about. I wasn't dealing with the crazy side of the funerals until like a couple of weeks after that they asked me if I could help with moving a body. So I was like freaked out at the beginning.
Oh my God!
Yeah, pretty much. And it got so
I love that one.
Then the following day, they're like, "Oh, can you help me pick up a body? We're doing a removal." I was like, "Jesus Christ, I'm gonna quit." I was ready to quit at the beginning, and within 3 months, I was running my own funeral home.
Wow,
Damn.
3 months.
3
That's
months.
fast. Wow.
Is it because there's not a lot of people to pick from to help run that home, and it was easy kind of to get you in there, or
Seen the money.
you know what I mean? Like how did you get 3 months?
Within 3 months, I guess the retail management experience kicked in a little bit, but at the same time, it's the way that you deal with that. Like I said, once I got picked, it was just one of those things where it just made every day became easier and easier and easier, to a point where I was doing removals out of the Los Angeles County coroners. I was picking up from the county morgue, and then I started dealing with families. When I started sitting with families and making the arrangements, and seeing that I was causing, that I was actually causing an impact in their life, and I was helping them navigate through that, that's what changed the dynamics for me. So that's when I'm like, you know what, this is the part that I like.
Yeah.
You don't have to like everything about what you do in business.
Amen, brother.
But that specific part is what I like. And to this day, that's the part that I enjoy the most, when I can make a change or I can make a difference in somebody's life and make.
So you that's good. So that's what you're focusing on to keep your like
The
you
positive
level.
aspect,
Okay,
yeah.
that makes sense because you always got to find something to keep you rolling in business, and that's
And
what
and
that's
that
what
in
you're doing.
itself is a blessing because all these families, not only are they dealing with grief, but they're dealing with all these other issues like paperwork you have to figure out and finances, and it's a lot. So in the middle of all that, they're like so mind boggled with everything. So the fact that you're able to help them, like that's a blessing in itself.
And I think to me that's what became a calling, to be honest, right?
Yeah.
Because I started seeing how a lot of corporations, I'm not gonna name no names, but a lot of corporations started taking advantage of it to a point where I was even trained that if you see somebody grieving, you take advantage of it and you upsell.
Damn.
So you upsell grief.
It's unfortunate.
Stop it.
Yeah? And to this day, we're still seeing that. I mean, to this day, so that's why I have a lot of repeat customers, and I have a lot of referrals because they know the way that I work.
Well, I feel like if you do things the right way, anyways, like it just kind of comes back to you. Like you don't gotta screw people over. Like it's so bad right now. It's all about that dollar, And those people, I mean, you end up becoming like filthy. Really, you start feeling like a filthy person, and when you start doing stuff like that, or you see them as a filthy person, like so, it's good you do it the way you do it. You know?
And that's how I've been doing it and that's how, like I said, that's how I work very closely with the district attorney's office.
That's what I wanted to get into too. So tell us a little bit about that. How'd you start working in with them?
So I got into it with them through a networking event.
See, that's what
So I was in a networking event in Los Angeles, and while I was there, I introduced myself as a funeral professional. Then I made contact with the victim advocate, right? So then I honestly had no idea at that point what a victim advocate was, and just like myself, there's so many families to this day don't know what that is, right?
So what is a victim advocate?
A victim advocate, when say somebody passes through a crime, right? Somebody gets shot, ran over, whatever it may be, they pass, and the cause of death was a crime. Then there's a program called the Victims of Crime Program. That's where the victim advocates, help the families out. When that takes place, there's about a $12,800, $12,800 that the government helps you with, or the state will help you throw to the, for the funeral of your loved one, if it's classified as a crime. Well, I didn't know that was a thing back then until I met them, and then once I met them, I started going through the district attorneys, started meeting them directly, started meeting advocates, and then they started referring me families to help. Then that's when I started seeing how that worked, right? Which makes makes a difference to a family, going through the whole process.
Yeah.
Because the financial part of it is very difficult for many families.
Yeah.
They do the car washes, they do the GoFundMe, and back then there was no GoFundMe, so it was just car washes, food sales, asking for money in the corners. Now money in the corners has become a scam, so now they don't even trust that,
I know.
Yeah.
right? So
Big time too.
so now the victim of crime program is very important, but unfortunately they don't tell the families that. Say they lost a loved one, and that loved one got shot coming out of a liquor store, right? Gets shot, passes away, and the detective never tells the family that they qualify for victims.
Why wouldn't they tell them that?
The money.
Some of them are just, they're too busy doing other things. They don't pay. I always tell families a lot of times, that becomes a number, and it's not the detective's fault. They have a lot of cases going on as well, where it's very difficult to put an emotion to that specific incident. So they just move on and move on and move on because they have to deal with that too, right? So they move on, and that just gets lost. And if the family I had families that come to me and they want to do funeral services. My first question is, how did your loved one pass? Oh, they were shot outside a liquor store. Well, have you applied for the victim of crime program? No, I haven't. So then I call my contacts and be like, this and this happened. Can you get the report, find out what's going on, and see if we could help them?
Nice.
So when you do the like, say someone gets murdered, and are you part of that trying to figure out how they got murdered when you do the?
No.
Okay. I was wondering about that.
Yeah, no, that's usually a detective. We just get the causes of what happened.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Like when they're there and they have to check the body, and you're checking the body and all that stuff, or
well, that gets done at the
crime scene.
At the medical examiner.
yeah. No, I wasn't thinking of the crime
coroners.
scene. I was thinking that.
So,
yeah,
at one of the funeral homes that we work with, or that I have here in the subcontract in the city of Long Beach, that one has an in-house autopsy room. So
okay, that's what I was wondering. Autopsy room. Yeah.
So we have, not every funeral home has that.
Okay.
So this gets done at the county coroners, whether it be LA, Orange, whatever county.
So you just work with another company that does that then?
So I have the consulting company. I subcontract
okay.
funeral homes, whether it be here in and Rialto, and in Riverside, Big Bear. So I do services from San Diego all the way to down to Oakland.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, so I cover all that area.
big.
I work with the consulates, so the consulates will call me and be like, "Oh, there's a loved one that we need to send back to, whether it be Peru, Paraguay, Mexico," and then I go pick them up from whether it be Bakersfield, Stockton, wherever it is.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Dang, you wouldn't even think all this goes into all this, you know? Like there's so much different areas and like basically divisions of what you do.
Yeah.
Did you know that when you first got into it? Like,
No, when I first got into it, I thought it was just you go to a funeral home, that's that, and that's pretty much it. Because I had only gone to like maybe 5 funerals in my life prior to doing that. It was friends that passed away.
would you be able to break down, like, I got to talk specifics, but like break down, like where in those areas do you make money? Like how in certain areas?
We're not gonna go into specifics.
Yeah. I understand.
But the money gets made, one, in merchandise, 2, in services, right? The type of services that you offer and the merchandise that gets sold. Caskets are a big one, right? Why are the caskets? Because you get them at a certain price, and then depending on the funeral home, they upsell. Sometimes 3 times the amount.
Jeez.
So that's where we could still see. I'm a believer in this. On the funeral side, you can still make money, and still keep something affordable.
Yeah.
I mean, affordable to the times, right? You can do something for just say $5,500 and still make a profit. If you do it consistently, you're gonna make.
Well, you're gonna mark it up just like everybody. Like we mark up our parts in this business. You know what I mean? Like everybody marks it up. There's no reason to sell a part or a casket or anything like that if you're not gonna mark it up. Like, what are you
little bit,
making in that?
So
you know?
what's the difference? Like, so if this casket was $5,500, but this one's $10,000, what would be the difference in the caskets?
One, it could be the material it's made from.
Yeah.
We could tell, yeah.
The gauge of the actual steel itself. If it's stainless steel versus just regular steel. The interior, if it's crepe interior, if it's velvet, if it has, the chrome accents to it. It's like I always tell the families, right? It's like a vehicle. When you go and you buy a base vehicle, you're gonna get, just a typical car. But now if you want to add rims to it, you want leather seats, you want all these extras cost.
Fancy amenities.
Now for a stainless steel casket, you're looking at about $16,000, right? That's how much a casket. But the cost of that is probably about 11.
What's one of the weirdest like requests you had like for a casket? Any weird requests or like something odd or something that just was like, because you've been doing it a long time.
Yeah, I've been doing it a long time. I don't think it's been no weird outside of just having things added to the top of the casket, paint and stuff, things like that. But as far as
graphics.
yeah, I mean that's
think I've seen
it.
that.
I mean, there's communities that obviously have certain traditions where they put like clothing and all the stuff inside. I mean, I witnessed the kind of stuff they put on burying, and when we're gonna bury, individuals, and let's just say that person was a connected individual, and things that go inside the casket.
Dang.
I'm not one to touch anything that's there, and
Yeah.
I'll just leave it. But we've seen a lot of the stuff that goes in.
Yeah.
I just tell them when we're doing repatriations, because I do repatriations to other countries, meaning I send loved ones from here, bodies from here, whether it be to Mexico, Central America, South America, Europe. We ship them to wherever, right?
Yeah.
People are trying to go back home, or loved ones trying to get buried back home. That's the only time I tell them, don't put anything inside, please, because it has to.
They'll
go through
take it out,
customs.
huh?
It has to go through customs, and we don't want any. We don't want any issues. Now, here at the cemeteries, I guarantee you, there is a ton of stuff buried.
Dang.
Yeah.
Yeah, like stuff that they can hide forever, huh? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I was already thinking that anyways. 'Cause-
Why are you thinking? Would you trying to put some in somebody's casket?
No, it's just like that there's a lot going on out there, man, and they're probably like, hey, they're never gonna dig them up, so
They won't. Not here.
so they hide like to think about it, like weird ass stuff in there,
Yeah, they-
Can you give us a step by step? So you get a phone call. How does it work as far as like the steps to do a funeral?
So depends. Let's just say it's a generic call. I get a generic call. It's not somebody that's a funeral insurance. It's generic. I get the phone call. I fill out a first call sheet. First call sheet meaning the information of where they're at, name, birthday, where
This
they're
is
at.
like for like a family member calling you directly.
Yes.
Okay.
So they'll call and say, my loved one's at X, Y, and Z hospital. They need to be picked up, and they always discuss price over how much is it going to cost. So I give them an average and tell them, look, if you want to send you an estimate, we prep an estimate. I send it over your way. If you're good with it, we could pick up. I could send you out the authorization forms for release, pickup, and then
So there's a pickup fee.
there's a fee for everything.
Okay.
Oh yeah. So everything's broken down from professional services to removal to embalming, storage, hearse, and then goes into the merchandise, the chapel, and then merchandise is broken down into everything, whether it be the casket, the memorial, the register books, the pamphlets, the programs, the DVDs, all that, crucifix, rosaries, gloves, and then the taxes. And if you want a religious service, it's a priest, a pastor fee. If you want escorts, that's a fee. If you want doves, it's a fee. If you want mariachi, it's a fee. If you want musicians, it's a fee. Like everything is a fee. If you want to cater, it's a fee. So we could do an entire event, and then it depends too whether they want limos, they want a party bus, all these things come into effect. That's what raises
people be
up
doing
the price.
party buses.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
That's wild. For like what?
What?
Look,
I don't
it
think
depends.
they party on them, or is it like just because the family's that
Look,
big, they need that.
No, I've had parties where I've had services.
Oh.
Let me find out you having ghost parties.
Ghost party.
You having ghost parties?
No, I've had actually services where
Peekaboo.
we do the service, bro, and I mean we have. It goes all out. You can tell these individuals just love to party, love to have fun. So you got girls twerking, girls.
Damn.
That's the kind. That's the
I've
kind
seen
of
videos with
We need
girls
to go to those funerals. We need to go to
on the casket. I've seen
That's
videos like
crazy.
people dancing on the casket.
Yeah, I mean, and then you have the.
Have you
ones
seen
are-
that? Where
Oh,
they-
yeah,
Damn.
yeah. I mean, I always tell them we got to celebrate the life of the loved one, right?
Funeral
However,
crashers.
that loved one. I'm that kind of guy that's like more of a celebration versus the whole sadness of the funeral. I go, we're celebrating the life.
Celebration of life.
Yeah, it's a celebration of life, right? So we got to celebrate the loved one, the memories, everything. So let's celebrate him how he was. So if you love music, like a lot of them like mariachi, they'll have 2-3 hours of mariachi. Which is
Yeah, I've
really
seen
nice.
that. I've
Which is
seen
really
that.
nice, right? They'll have food. So the whole thing, family will come up, start singing with the mariachi. Like that's something that happens. Now we have that with they're twerking and having a good time. That's another thing, right? It's the celebration of the life, however that person lived it, right?
Yeah.
If they were like, so we do memorial DVDs as well, and then we go based on the kind of music that they like. So I've had crazy rap, I had heavy metal, I've had all kinds of music.
This is
So
wild.
it's a celebration of that person's life. So we got to
Yeah.
celebrate the way they were. It's like
Yeah.
even when we're dressing them, right? I get down to the detail. Like say somebody's gonna get dressed, and I'm all like, don't put something on him or her that they didn't wear in life. So I'll as an example for a gentleman that never liked suits, hated suits, doesn't wear suits. Probably a guy that likes jeans, white shirts, boots and a hat. All of a sudden you're gonna put him in a suit. That's not gonna match. Like, you're not celebrating the right way. You got to celebrate him how he was,
Yeah.
right? And that's kind of like that goes with every single service. So the good thing about the funeral industry is every service is different. Every service is different.
My mom used to do the makeup for the.
That's what she knows.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
she did it for a few years, and she was like, "I can't do it no more."
Man, I feel like the Mexican funerals with the mariachis are like the worst funerals ever because, dude, I didn't even like know the dude that well, and it's like the saddest funeral. I'm like, I'm already sad. Like, why am I more sad? Like, I feel like they want you to be more sad. It's like the saddest funeral, man. When they got the mariachis, aren't they like brutal? I'm like, Jane, this is like crazy. I'm like, you guys are making me more sad. Like,
Yeah.
what the heck is going on?
And
here?
you're like, I don't even understand what they're saying, but I feel it.
I know.
Like, right, like, guarantee you,
I
it's
I'm
feel
like,
it.
damn, man, this is
Drop a tear.
breaking me. This is
Yeah.
breaking me, man. And I'm like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's sad.
But it is a sad, it's a sad industry in essence, right? But at the same time, we got to look at the plus side to it or the beauty of it, or So that's why I
Yeah.
focus more on the celebration versus.
So I want to ask you two questions.
Sure,
Tell
absolutely.
us the saddest story that you've had that you experienced doing this.
You sure you want to hear it?
Yeah, I want to hear it.
All right.
Oh man.
And that's where I tell you that this is.
I don't smiling about it. Like
Oh,
smiling.
I don't cry.
Happy.
I don't cry very often, right? I'm not a crier by no means. I don't cry. Even for my dad's service, I didn't cry much. But this is one of the only services that's made me cry, right? So again, no names, no nothing. We're just gonna go based on what happened. 5-year-old kid has a fever. I guess some situation happened. The mom didn't pay much attention to what was going on. He ends up passing away. Kid had all the opportunity in the world. And the thing is, when you saw that kid, brother, he was one of the most beautiful kids you could see. So that right there, that's, to me, that was a sad. And my dad's service was sad, like, to me as a person. But that service of that kid broke me. Like, it really did. To this day, it still hurts. And that wasn't my kid. I didn't know that kid. It's just, I could still see his face. You know what I mean? I think everybody who was involved in that service understands what I'm talking about.
Wow.
Because we still talk about it. And that happened, I don't know, like over 10 years ago easily.
Dang.
And to this day, we still think about that specific, because that had a way out. Like, all that needed to happen was take that kid to the hospital, kid saved.
Yeah.
You ignore that,
Yeah.
kid's gone.
Did they end up
Yeah.
getting in trouble for it, the parent?
I believe they press charges on the parent.
Oh,
on the mother.
wow.
That's good.
Neglect. What is
Yeah.
it? Neglect.
Trying to go.
Mm.
Is
So, yeah.
what do you guys do with as far as like prisoners for deaths of them? Do you go to jails and stuff too?
We pick up from wherever, yeah. So if it is somebody that passed away in prison, chances are if they pass away in prison, they're gonna get taken to the county morgue. I mean, the county morgue, or they're gonna take it, depending if they pass away from an actual crime in prison, like say they got killed in prison, it's gonna go to the county coroners.
So what's the difference between? I mean, like I know it's a little more formal what you do. When they go to county, how does that work? How does that play out? Like
When they go to county, what do you mean, like?
the county morgue. So they're just.
So the county morgue. So county morgue is where everybody goes, pretty much. When they don't have nobody to claim them, or say a person passed away in a convalescent home. So a convalescent home, there's a 4-hour limit to pick up. So if the person does not get picked up within 4 hours after they passed on a convalescent home, they get taken to the county morgue. And the family will contact us. We go to the county morgue and we pick up from the county morgue. Homeless get sent to the county morgue.
4 hours too. 4 hours.
Oh, well, they get picked up from the street. They get taken to the county morgue
right away.
The only one that has a 4 hour is the convalescent homes. Yeah. So usually anybody that doesn't have that nobody claims gets taken to the county morgue.
Again, what happens if nobody claims them at all? Like that's just
After, I believe it's about 3 months, right? The waiting period where they'll try to contact the next of kin or a loved one. If not, then they'll get cremated by the state, by the county,
okay.
and put in a communal faucet.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, now give us like a kind of a happy story. Like what was like? I mean, it's kind of be hard to see a happy
Yeah,
story,
I know.
and happy,
but more of the celebration of the person. Like what's more of like
what's been
something
the
that you
most
saw?
what's been the most joyful service that you've done,
Yeah,
The most joyful service.
or like the most service you was like, oh my, this is kind of dope. This is
the way they celebrate.
I like the way they did
person or
this. Yeah.
something.
I mean, the most joyful one will probably be when we're talking about the whole mariachi. They brought in, the family they were all artists, or they were all not famous artists, but they were
Musicians.
artists. So yeah, so they were all singing. It didn't seem like a funeral to an extent.
Oh, right.
That makes
Honestly.
sense.
Everybody was singing, and everybody accepted the fact that their loved one had passed on. So it wasn't. It was.
They were
crazy 'cause
celebrating them.
That was the one time I really didn't see any pain in people, right? And I remember I asked one of the daughters, someone like you guys look like you guys. I like, no, Mara, there's no pain. Like we know we're now happy that he's moved to a better life, because he was suffering so much here.
That's tough.
So we're celebrating them the right way, and everybody was singing. It's probably one of the happiest ones, seriously, because there was no. I really didn't see anybody crying. Everybody was just singing and dancing, and it was
Like
it
at
was,
peace with the
Yeah.
whole situation.
Yeah. So that to me was probably the I would say the happiest one, or the happiest one.
So I want to ask you. So seeing all this death, seeing all this stuff that you've been dealing like your profession with. How has that affected your spirituality? Like with God, or if you believe in, I see you're wearing a cross and all that, but I'm just wondering, has that affected anything about how you believe?
No, actually, I think it made it a little stronger, right? I'm not a religious individual by no means, and everybody who knows me knows I'm not. I'm a huge believer in God, though. I think that everything that I do is pretty much through Him, right? And I think, to me, it seems like He's the one that's giving me the strength to keep going in this industry, to be able to help families.
Yeah.
So every time that I help a family out, to me it almost feels like he's guiding me through that assistance.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not hugely religious, so it has an impact that I think has made it a little stronger, because now I get to see. Prior to this, like I said, I work retail management. It was retail management. It was going out on the weekends, it's partying, having fun, going out with friends. I never thought about the personal connection with anybody outside of, like your family. When I started seeing pain, like in its raw form, when I'm sitting in front of a family and they just lost a kid, or they lost a son or a daughter or a mother or a father, and then this started becoming like the normality for me, is when I started seeing, once I started realizing that pain takes place, I think is when my faith, my faith in God became a lot stronger. because then I will turn to
Makes
him.
sense.
I will turn to him to try to at least help me deal with certain things. Like now, every single time I go with the family, I always first thing I say when I get there in my car is, or if I'm sitting with them in the office, is God just guide me through this one. Just guide me through this one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Help me make the right decisions on them. And that's usually how I go about it. And usually it turns out great.
I would
Amen to that
never,
shit.
I would never think that you'd be like chosen for that profession. You know what I mean? Where like it's like the weight of the world is so heavy on you to deal with everybody's deaths coming in. Like that's funerals are like so heavy when you walk in them already. And you're dealing with it on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And you're like, basically you're chosen for that.
And you really are, man. Because see, even with the funeral insurance part of it, right? I've been doing it for over 8 years, so I got to meet some individuals that I had a lot of fun with. While we're talking about when I sat with them to sign the contract or the application, right? You sit with them, we're having a good time, we're laughing, they're joking around, they're playing, and get a coffee, Mario, get this, don't leave yet, let's hang out a little more. So you build a relationship with them, and a lot of times you gotta see them when they pass on.
Dang.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like I was just sitting. It's like there was this one gentleman that I got to sit with, and jokester. He was joking around. Him and his sister were joking around, and we signed him on a policy. He pays everything up. Policy paid off. So it was just like, oh, now I'm covered. Something happens to me, I'm covered. About a year goes by, and he gets killed.
Dang. How?
I think his roommate was the one that actually did it.
His roommate?
Yeah.
Wow.
Damn.
So this is the kind of stuff that you see, and you're like, Jesus, you know what I mean? Like, so you get to meet the people, and then at the same time, you get to see when they pass. Many of them you actually get to see, because I mean, to me, it's like I seen them. I was sitting with them. I was talking to them, and all of a sudden, it's like they're gone.
How does this affect you on looking at people now? Like I mean, because you see so much death. Like, how does that? I mean, just people in general, like people you come in contact with. Is your mind shaped differently because of this?
I was gonna say that, or like relating it to your family. Like, how has that made you? Or I don't know if you have kids. Has that made you more like a strict parent, like more kind of paranoid, or just kind of like how has that affected?
I don't think I've become more paranoid. I think I just, when it comes to people, at least I try to see the best side of them as much as I get to see them. I know there's a lot of negativity in the world, and I get to see a lot of the negative side of my end. So I try to focus on the positive of people. Now with my kids, they're older already, right? But I try to at least guide them to a point where I tell them, like, this is an example, right? I did the service for a friend. He passed away from fentanyl, right? They gave him fentanyl. He wasn't trying to do fentanyl, but he ended up passing away. Wow. So that became such a big thing, because then I started doing service after service after service after service.
For ODs?
For ODs of fentanyl. Ranging from 16 to 24. One family, I did 5.
Wow.
In one family?
One family. Right?
That's horrible.
So then, I got a little strict when it came to that with my kids. I'm like, you see any powder, you do not freaking touch it.
Yeah.
You stay away from it. So then it would freak me out a little bit. That did freak me out a little bit, that period of time. So I'll tell them, please don't touch that. If you see something like that, don't touch. But again, it's like, you got to let them out in the world.
Right.
They
You
gotta
just make them
experience-
aware,
Yes.
kind of like.
So I'll tell them, do this, do this, do this, do this.
Right.
But I mean, you can't control what they're doing.
True. That's true.
Well, let's go here. How has it affected your own life? Like you personally, knowing that from all this death that you see, like how has that affected you? Like, okay, you're gonna die one day. Like we all think about that, but do you think about it more? You think because of this, or no?
I think
You compartmentalize a little bit.
No, I think I've accepted. I've accepted my death a long time ago. That's why I try to live my life the best I can, because I know that it's inevitable.
Yeah.
I mean, some people hold on to the idea, or they try not to think about it. But I always tell everybody, just live your best life, because we're all gonna go one day. That's not in question, right? Unless you know a vampire somewhere that's turning you out, we're gonna go somewhere. So I mean, we're gonna go someday. So I've accepted the fact that it's gonna happen. So I just try to live my best life. I don't think about it. I try not to think about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's
good.
just
You just try to stay positive. And,
just live your life. You know what I mean?
a good
Live
way to
every
look at
day.
it.
Why? Because I know as a fact tomorrow's not guaranteed. And I could attest to that. I've seen individuals one day and the next day they're gone.
It's a real thing. Like you hear it all the time, and people I feel like kind of just let it go in one ear out the other. But it's like you really have to like
A lot of people think,
Apply
they
it.
don't think they're even gonna like die. Like, nothing's gonna happen to me. There's so many.
Invincible.
Yeah, a lot of people think they're invincible.
yeah,
Yeah.
for
You
sure.
you get to see that, right?
You're
I
like,
always
yeah,
tell-
no,
I always-
it's not.
I always tell no.
You're like, no way's invincible.
And the thing is, it could happen anywhere, right? Like I've seen 23-year-olds get hit by vehicles. You know, like they're sitting just posted up in their bike, waiting for a green light. Car comes, hits them, gone. Right?
Crazy.
I've seen somebody that thought they were faster than a metro, jump in front of the metro trying to cross, gets hit. You know,
Damn.
so it's like you leave your house every single day. You just don't know if you're gonna come back.
Coming back is the biggest.
Yeah.
Is,
The thing is, you could even go to sleep. I always tell everybody, you could go to sleep and not wake up. So why not just live your best life every day,
Yeah.
right? Try to live it as best you can. That's all you can do. We worry too much about everything else that
Yeah.
we forget how to live our life. That's the honest truth. And I see that over and over and over again. One of the things that I see a lot within the industry is let's overpay on everything as if it's gonna take the pain away, or say somebody's guilty, they didn't spend enough time with their parents, they didn't do enough for their parents, right? So then they want to overpay on things, the best casket, more flowers, more this. They want to overpay, but I always tell them the same thing: like you can spend all you want. I'll take your money. Don't.
Yeah.
But it's going in the ground. Yeah.
But that pain's not gonna go away. That guilt's not gonna go away. That I promise you. Now, if you want to pay, by all means, I'll take the money. You know?
Yeah.
But it's just not gonna make a difference, right?
Yeah.
you're stronger than most people. Shit,
I
'cause-
didn't start this way.
No, because I honestly didn't think about death until my mom passed. Like literally, never crossed my mind. It was one of those things because obviously we all think our parents are our heroes. Like, damn, if something can happen to them, like, damn, then that's when it changed.
hits you.
It changed me. Like even going to sleep, like how you said, the not waking up part.
Yep.
It would be nice. Like when it first happened, I kid you not, like 4 days. Like the longest I stayed up was like 4 days, like because I was afraid to go to sleep.
Damn.
And then when the first time I had seen her in my dream, I was like, no, I'm not doing this. I'm not going to sleep. I'm not going back to sleep.
Did she pass in her sleep?
No, she passed at home, and I walked in. I seen the ambulance and everything. Like it's just weird seeing that person like that. You think that this is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you seeing that shit every day, I couldn't. Yeah, like you said, yeah, it wouldn't have chose my ass. I would have walked right out. I would have walked right out.
There we go.
You could pay me $10,000 a week. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing
You
it.
could make it, but
Because even seeing their face, is different. Like you know what I mean. When somebody has life in them, and then you just seeing that shit, it's
Yeah.
and see that's what I'm saying. There's certain people that will come. There's one girl that I hired when I used to be up at in the South LA funeral home. So she came. Oh, I could do it. No worries. I could take care of it. She lasted 2 days.
Damn.
So I'm like, I'm gonna go out to lunch. I'll be back. I go. I need you to go to the back and get an inventory of the chemicals that we utilize to embalm and whatnot. Right. I need you to go back there and get the inventory of it. See what we got to order. I got back from lunch. There was a note on my desk. They said, "Oh, I can't do this. I'm
Oh.
sorry, I cannot do this." Took off. Just locked the door and left.
Damn.
So I'm like,
You know, the smell alone would be is like, the smell alone to me, like I couldn't smell that every
when
day.
does that start? Like how many days? Like
the smell.
yeah.
It could start depending on the
As soon as
depending on
you
the time
walk
of
in
year.
that place, though, you smell it.
If
The heat.
you're in summer, and that body doesn't get embalmed or doesn't get prepped, or let me backtrack to the story. All right. So when I first started in the business, nobody told me this, right? So there's tricks to the trade that nobody cared to mention. Like you get Vaseline, you put it in your nose, it blocks off your senses, so you can't smell. So we walk into this one place. We're picking up a lot of corners is there. Why corners didn't take? At that point I'm new. I have no idea what's going on. They said, and they asked me, do you want a gown? Do you want corners at this? Right? Hey, do you want? Because I had them, white shirt, tie. I rolled up my sleeves and I'm ready to go. I put my mask on, put gloves. They're like, you want a gown? I'm like, no. I've done this like 2 times already. I'm good. I walk in. There's a man that had passed on the middle of summer. All right, had passed on their house, and they were in the house sitting in a lazy boy chair.
Oh.
Had been there for about a good week.
Damn.
So the moment you grab the skin, it just slips right off. And that level of smell lasted in my nose for, kid you not,
I can't
probably about a
imagine
week
your
and a half.
clothes too.
Oh my God, I burned my clothes. I
Oh,
threw my clothes away. Seriously. Yeah. So that smell, nobody told me about it. So I walk out. I'm like, I'm gagging. At this point, I'm like, oh my God, I can't do this. Right. So for the next couple of days, right after with the other guy that I went with, he was the one that was training me, laughing his butt off, right? He's laughing his ass off. So he's all like, "Oh, you should have put Vaseline." I said, "You should have told me before I went in there."
Yeah.
You know,
And don't ask me if I want it.
No.
Like, tell me you're gonna need this here.
So for the next week, I'm literally putting cologne in my finger, bro, and sticking the cologne into my nose because I could.
That's
still
how bad it was?
Oh
Oh
my
my
god! For a week, it was stuck in my nose.
Damn.
So that smell is something that you got to get used to it.
Wow.
You definitely have to get used to it. It's the smell, it's the visuals, it's everything.
So everything kind of like when you first started, it's all been
Yeah, I
kind of
couldn't
like
do that. Just from
self-taught,
that
or did you
smell.
have like a mentor that kind of helped you, guide you? Because I mean, you work with chemicals,
Or
and you have to
schooling.
know
Or
like.
school. Did you guys go to school for like
No.
chemistry, bio, nothing?
No. So for the embalmers, they're the ones who go to school for that. I never embalmed, right? So that part I don't do. Know how to do it, but I'm just not licensed to do it. So I just, for stuff like that, like
Yeah.
You just hire people that are licensed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the embalmers is a trade profession. So you just hire embalmers, and then they'll go in and embalm and do all that.
So like, I mean, not to talk mess with it, but how are those people like when you, because I mean, you got to be pretty interesting. You got to be pretty interesting.
He's basically saying, are they weird as fuck? Are they weird?
No.
Are they weird?
Okay, not everybody. Okay, but that's the one thing that comes about, right?
Like gothic walking in, like black.
I swear everybody comes up with the same thing. It's like, oh, everybody's gothic. Everybody's all freaking.
They're like,
demonic. They're all.
Yeah,
Nah, you got
black under their eyes and
Like a little
shit.
bit, though.
You got some embalmers that are like, if you meet them in person, the sweetest people you're gonna meet. Like you won't even know they're in the funeral business. You got some other ones that you're like, oh, they're
He for sure mess with
definitely in
dead
the
bodies.
funeral business. Yeah, they're definitely in the, so it all depends. It's personalities, right? In the funeral business, everybody thinks, oh yeah, you're just morbid, walking around, pale and wearing all black. And I hardly wear black for starters, but wearing all black, it's not the thing anymore. Maybe it was a thing back in the days, Now it's not. I mean,
It's
you
like
meet a
maybe
lot-
they're getting their kicks by being in bombers. Some of them though.
So-
You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. Some of them are a little,
Yeah,
a little
'Cause I met
questionable.
some people that are like normal, seem normal, like in the business.
Yeah.
Then you meet some people, you're like, whoa, what the? They
really
belong
do.
here.
They belong in the
They
funeral
belong in this
business,
business. If they weren't in this, who knows what they'd be doing out there?
Yeah.
You know what I'm
So
saying?
keep 'em
like,
here. Keep 'em
yeah,
here.
keep them
Yeah.
here.
No, I mean, some of them, like I said, they are. Some of them are. I've met some interesting characters, to say the least. But then again, I met someone that
Just like regular
you
heads.
won't know who they are. I mean, you see them in the street, you'll think they're bankers for all you know. For all
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
So it all depends. It's the person, but yeah, I'm once I'm like what you just said. I mean, someone belong in that, and they need to stay there because if they're
Yeah.
outside of that industry, I don't know.
So where do you want to take your? Is there anywhere you want to take your business from here, like further? Like, what are you looking to do with this?
Well, for myself, I think we want to make sure that we're helping not only as a business, but we're educating people on the business itself. Because one of the things that I see, or one of the things that I've seen throughout the time is that people don't get prepared, right? That they
Right.
never get ready. But they don't understand how a funeral works either, right? I have situations where somebody passes away, and one of the things that I always, that I like to say is, don't call the first place that you see. You're driving down the street, you see a cemetery, and that's the first place you call. It's going to cost you a lot of money. It's going to cost you time, and it's going to cost you. Let's just say, right?
Yeah.
You got to do your homework, right? In the business, you got to do your homework too. If you lost a loved one through a tragic accident, it's gonna go to the coroner. It's gonna afford you a couple of days. Do your homework. Find out what respects your traditions. What respects what fits your budget. Starters, right? Because I mean, there's some locations that are, a funeral service will cost you $14,000.
Yeah.
Whereas if you go to another funeral home, it'll be $6,000, right? So you got to know where to go as well, right? But people aren't doing their homework. If you know that a loved one is sick, they're terminal, they're sick, why aren't you getting funeral insurance for them, right? Start preparing. That's I think one of the things that
Nobody wants to think that they're going to die. Nobody wants to think about their family dying. That's probably why a lot of people don't do that, huh? But they should. Yeah.
prior to the pandemic, that was the case. That pandemic hits, it changes the dynamics,
Yeah.
right? That changed the way that people start perceiving death, because I was going. So during the pandemic, just to kind of give you backtrack, right? So I was on vacation in Colombia. So I went to Colombia on vacation. The pandemic starts. I'm in Colombia during the beginning of the pandemic. 2 weeks, I went for a month.
Oh shoot.
2 weeks, I was in the hotel working. It was call after call after call. The funeral home was to its limit. We couldn't take any more people.
Damn.
And I was calling a lot of the contacts I had. They weren't taking any more people. So I mean, when
So
I
business
said,
was booming.
bro, let's put it this way. There was a month. I remember the January where I had to turn away about 15 to 20 cases,
Damn.
which would have netted like 40 to 50,000,
Sheesh.
right? So that's the kind of impact, and you had to turn them away because you couldn't.
You just
There's nowhere to
yeah.
put them. Where are you going to put them on the floor and stack them up? You
Yeah.
can't do that, right? Some were doing it though. Some were. We weren't. But so that's when it started changing things. Prior to, it was affordable. After, and since there's no control,
It's like any industry, like it just bumps everything up
my
after
God,
that.
man. It went from prior to the pandemic.
And then nobody's working, so everybody's broke. You know what I mean? So it's like, damn, how is that even like that's crazy? But they're like, hey, it is what it is. You got to pay for it. You know?
You have to. And the thing is, the one thing that everybody says, right, is they're gonna pay for it one way or the other.
Yeah.
They're gonna figure out a way.
How much
And
more cheaper is the cremation versus funeral?
well, it depends where you go. Like if you come with us, a cremation will cost you $1,519
Oh, so
for one
that's it?
certificate. If you go to a cemetery, it could cost you north of $4,000 for the same service.
Dang.
So like a service, a traditional burial, will run you about $6,000. A couple of discounts, maybe $55 if you're trying to help somebody out. You go to the cemetery, you're looking at probably north of $8,000 or $9,000. So it depends where you go. So
But
to
that's
me,
just
it's
for the service. That's separate from the plot,
from the cemetery.
right?
Yeah, that's the
And then
plots.
other amenity, like you said, if you want a mariachi and all that stuff.
So the plots, and this is the one thing that takes place. Every cemetery after the pandemic went from having a single plot. You go to any cemetery, they'll have single spots, and they'll have doubles. Everything got switched over to doubles. So it went from a price that was, affordable, maybe like $7,000 to $18,000, $19,000, $20,000.
Damn.
Right? And somebody passes away, like say somebody passed away today, do you have the $20,000 to give?
Yeah.
Because you're gonna need to pay that within the next couple of days, maybe a week. And most families don't have that. So that's where repatriation and cremation became a thing. Prior to the pandemic, people didn't want to send their loved ones back to their home countries like Mexico, Central America, South America. The pandemic comes. After the pandemic, I've been doing a bunch of
Because it's cheaper to do
it's
that.
cheaper to do it
Oh, dang.
than to get the cemetery. Because I mean, the cemetery, you're thinking about a few, a service. You're gonna have a viewing. You're gonna have all this. It's gonna run you about, say $7,000. On top of that, it's the cost of the cemetery, another $20,000 plus the cemetery fees, the opening, the closing, the vault, all these extras, right? The endowment care is gonna run you another $4,000. So you're looking at $24,000 just for the cemetery and $7,000 for the funeral. How many people do you know have that money just laying around?
Yeah,
somewhere?
no.
So the best bet is cremation.
Cremation. That's why cremation became so popular to a point where, I mean, the Catholic Church acknowledges cremation as a rite of passage. Prior to it, they used to have some discussions where cremation wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know
Yeah,
that. That's
yeah.
crazy. They just switch it. Like,
Now
That's
you
what
can
I was
somebody.
gonna ask because I know Catholic religions they don't believe in cremation. It's like you have to be buried in order to.
Right.
Like you
and
said.
that's crazy because back in the day they used to burn them on. That's how they used to do it. So it's kind of weird that they don't
That was
believe in it because that was the thing. They used to put them on something, put the
Yeah.
coin, and then they burned them.
That was the first rite of passage.
Yeah, it's like, what are they talking
Yeah.
about? Like,
So that's always been the thing. It's
Yeah.
always been the case, and they switched it over. Now they switched it back.
yeah,
Like even suicides, right? If you were if you're Catholic, like you were trying to bury somebody in a Catholic cemetery, if it was a suicide, they wouldn't take them. They wouldn't even do a mass at the
Yeah.
church if you were part of suicide. Now this new pope, I guess, switched it over to a point where now it's an illness, a mental illness. So because it's a mental illness, they're able to.
And the
to do
Pope
the
got to
service.
decide that.
that's
Oh
crazy.
yeah,
It came through the pope.
he's
There's
doing
all
that.
kinds of crazy stuff going on over there.
It's all
though.
money, man. It's
Yeah,
at the
it's
end
all
of the
money,
day,
man.
It's one of the most lucrative industries there is.
Yeah,
Point blank, man. And that's an industry that I
It
don't
is.
care. It's never going to go out of business.
Oh yeah, people die every second.
is there anywhere that you want to get into that when you're being in the funeral business? Is there any like other division or any other section that you're trying to get into, or you want to move your business into, or you're good where you're at right now?
I think when it comes to the business aspect of it, I think I'm where I want to be. I mean, I want it to grow. Obviously, I want it to become more, to increase in volume.
Yeah.
But as far as moving to another division, I think the fact that we're able to, like, my company has like an umbrella effect, right? So we do the funerals, we do funeral insurance. I mean, we could help you with life insurance. I mean, we have a cat that does one of our agents that does investments for them. But we could do repatriations. We could do everything under one umbrella. We could help you with international funeral homes. So if you're looking for a funeral home in Mexico, Central America, South America, we got connections up there.
Think you're like a
So
travel
you have
agency
everything covered.
type.
Yeah, so you come to us, we handle everything for you.
You're like a travel agency.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I think and at that end that's what we're looking at, man. It's like you want families to come to one location and find everything. We want to be the Costco, the business, bro. That's what it comes down to. You come and find everything.
Look at this.
But is it not the one business that you're gonna have? Everybody's
Instead of making a whole bunch of
bro.
phone calls, you can just make one phone call.
Yeah,
One stop shop, and you ain't
Be
leaving.
resourceful.
that's exactly what we're looking at, man. Just one stop shop.
Yeah.
The
And
Costco
you ain't leaving.
funeral
Have you
industry.
heard of like, because I know when you can get a little fancier with like when you have a loved one pass, and I've heard of like putting them in as a plant a seed
Yeah,
or a
you do
tree
that.
or something like that.
You can do that. I mean, you could even bury at the sea, like this off the San Pedro Peninsula. I believe that's they have a underwater cemetery. So you
Oh,
can bury the
damn.
casket. You just put
That's
it
a
in boat.
trip. I didn't even know about that at
Yeah.
all.
And
I've
go
heard of
swimming
that.
and-
Hey,
I've heard of
taking
that
a little
because I
dip.
think
you know?
Pitbull has that in one of his songs. He says something about burying him like in the
Ocean.
in the ocean.
yeah, something like that.
That's
So
a
you could do
trip.
that.
Right
But
there.
there's so many different things out there. Like I've heard, like you put them in, or
I've seen you can put them in lockets too.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's, that would just be like part of the
pendants.
cremation,
You
right?
can turn them into diamonds.
Oh,
What?
wow.
Hold on, wait a minute. Let's explain that. How that
So there's a company that does it. It runs about $4,000 to turn somebody into. I mean, you're not gonna be don't expect a big old diamond coming out of it. But you can
No
turn.
carrots.
You'll get a small diamond. They'll compress everything. It's a company in I want to say in Louisiana. It does it.
That's I've never even heard of
There's
that.
so
man.
much
That's
stuff
a
out
trip.
there.
So the thing is, if you have like say you have 6 kids, man, you're talking about a diamond about this big for each one of them. But I mean, they'll carry you with them.
Yeah,
So that's
kind of like
it's
fancier
not
stuff.
super popular, you know.
Yeah, I
but,
never heard of that.
It is, but yeah, as far as like the plant, yeah, you can put them on an urn, biodegradable urn with seeds. Put them, turns into a tree. But,
like that.
Yeah, make sure you have you own
You're
the
like, I
property.
want to
But
be a
then,
tree.
but then I thought about it because I was like, what if like wherever you're planted, right, and they want to chop down all the trees to
That's
make
why
more
you're saying make
houses
sure
or
you
something.
make sure you
so-
shield your property.
Yeah,
She's like, I want to be a tree.
You
I
gotta
want to be a
plant
cherry
it on
blossom.
we got people in the chat. Go ahead and can you read those off, Rico? Come on,
Can't
cuz.
read- you can't
Come
read
on,
them.
cuz.
What are some of the big mistakes that are made in the industry?
Getting
Big
into
mistakes.
the industry.
Yeah.
Just read them all. There's not. a
Well,
lot of
I
them.
mean, because
That's
some of them
only
are questions.
question.
I know.
Okay, go ahead. We'll shout the person out. That's it.
John.
Oh, it's John. Okay, cool.
What are the big mistakes?
Or what are some mistakes that are made sometimes?
In the industry, like maybe things that you see that other funerals do, things like that.
I don't think mistakes at that level have happened before, but I know there used to be mistakes back in the day where they would where they were pre-made the wrong bodies.
Dang.
Yeah, that the state became very, very strict with that. So it limits the amount of mistakes that get made nowadays. So when it comes to that, I mean, as far as mistakes, I am honestly, I can say I'm very honored and blessed to work with and I'm not just saying this, to work with a staff or a team that's very, very detail oriented. So we try to limit every mistake. Even myself, like when I'm going over contracts, I try to pay attention to everything. When we're picking up a loved one, we ensure that even if we don't fully, like say they have a toe tag that's the name is a little off, we ask the family for a picture and try to compare based on that to eliminate mistakes. Because the thing is, you don't want to make those mistakes. I don't want to give the wrong ashes to or bury the
Dang.
wrong person.
Yeah.
Crazy.
One of the most I would say probably one of the most common ones. Let's just say, right? They're not common, but if you're gonna go into commonalities here, it's probably putting the wrong clothes on the wrong person. Like somebody will give you a suit and you put that suit on the wrong person, and then they go do the service, and all of a sudden you open the casket and somebody else's clothes.
So that's the question right there I want to ask. So
What?
I want to ask like,
man.
so you got some like weird things going on in California a lot of times. Have you had to like, dress up like binary type stuff and things
Whatever
like
it is
that?
they choose, man.
Dang.
Whatever it is they choose. Like
Everybody
It's like
dies.
and like those like an animal costume type stuff or anything like that.
if they have us dress them like that.
But
that's what they want.
have you had that do
Not
that?
really.
Oh, okay.
No, we haven't had it. There's been some that I've heard about, but haven't witnessed them. So I'll be.
Oh, you haven't? Okay.
No, I mean, with us, it's just I mean, you could dress them, like trans and whatnot. You could do all
Yeah.
that's 100% cool, but we haven't had any of those,
Nah.
those crazy ones like that. Yeah, no.
I was wondering about that because we got some weird stuff going on in California, man. You never know what's
That's
about to
everywhere.
happen out
That's
there.
everywhere.
But you got to expect everything, though. That's
Yeah,
the thing.
yeah.
You got to be ready for everything. You know?
Keep reading the rest of them off.
Can you see it, Mel?
The rapping trucker says, "Good podcast. Shout out to my brother Mario." The rapping trucker.
A rapping trucker.
Yes, he knows you though. It's probably it's his YouTube name.
Angel Estrada says, "Mario, that's my suegro." Shout out, Angel. St. John, let's go. Maggie Pablo, yeah, my brother.
Yeah, that's one of my colleagues in the business.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you for watching, guys.
Yeah, man, that's wild. So, if there's anybody that wants to get in the funeral business, or anything you want to say to the audience about it, like go ahead and shout it out.
Yeah, I think if you're trying to get into the business, my suggestion would be try to find a local funeral home. They will kind of let you tour the funeral home, get a feel for it before you even try to get into the business. Why? Because like I said earlier, this is the type of business that chooses you. Right off the bat, when you get into a funeral home, some people just have that backlash, don't want to be part of it, don't want to be around it. Like yourself, like, no, well, right off the bat, you're not going to.
We should-
Not for me.
You don't want to go
that's
tour
not-
it,
that's
like
not for
you
me.
don't want. We should do a Howls of Baaz tour.
You can do a Jacob over Bass. Where,
It's like nurses, right? They want to be nurses, but they can't see blood.
well,
Right.
yeah.
I can't,
You're
yeah.
You're not going to be in that business for a long time. Well, same here. Because we get to see a lot of things that normal people shouldn't see. Like regular folks shouldn't see.
And your place is in LA.
Yeah, so my personal office in the city of Bellflower, but again, I do funeral service throughout the state of California. We do have a location that I work with in the city of Long Beach,
Okay.
Big Bear. We have Riverside. We have Rialto. So we're all over the place. I mean, I could definitely do services anywhere. I've done them in Stockton, Madera, Modesto, everywhere. Picked up from everywhere.
Well, I know when my time comes, my family's sending me to you, man.
Brother. That's if I don't go before you. But tell me, oh, you know what? We definitely want you to take over a service. I'm like, sure that I'm gonna be alive then. Definitely, I got you, but but I don't know.
Well, it
Like I
definitely
said,
sounds like you have a good structure and like you're very resourceful when it comes to families that do have questions, and you're helpful as far as like giving them other information of, well, have you done this? And that's always going to be helpful for the families grieving and going through that
I got a quick question.
loss.
How do you sleep? No, dead ass, for real.
comfortably, brother.
Like, was it like that at first when you started it?
No.
How long did it take you to get back to being comfortable?
Because I'm pretty sure when you're alone, you picture, you see those things.
It took a couple of months to get adjusted to it. Definitely.
Oh, that's not that bad though. A couple months.
Again, I think honestly,
Did you have to take like melatonin or anything?
Nah.
Nothing.
no. But then again, I mean,
You're just a different kind of beast.
I go to sleep around midnight. Be up by around 6 in the morning. Sometimes I go to sleep at 2. Be by 6. It's just work, right? But yeah, it did take a while because I was trying to get adjusted to it. But once you get adjusted, you're good. Again, like I said, I think I was chosen to do this. I just didn't know it. So I'm an artist by trade, right? So I design. Artwork has been something I've done my whole life. So I thought I was gonna be fully committed to art. And while I still design, I still do. Yeah, this is what I definitely see myself doing forever, dude.
Damn.
We know what you mean.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Again, it's what it's-
Well, we appreciate you coming on, man.
I appreciate you guys having me,
This
man.
is a different type of podcast.
Very different.
We really got to get in deep on this one, man.
Scary, spooky, hilarious.
Not really hilarious, but leave it to Jago. He'll make it fun.
Some of them are hilarious. I'll tell you that.
Hey, I'm
Yeah, the
like-
twerking on the casket.
Hey,
that's
I ain't gonna lie. I want to see that.
I've actually
wanna
seen
see
one.
that.
I don't know if it was in the U.S., but I seen one where they had the guy trip out in the heat. They had him in the club, bro, sitting down like this, and people and girls were coming up dancing.
I
on
feel like
him.
I've seen what you're talking about. That is
I've seen it.
wild.
I don't know if that was in the U.S.
That is
or
crazy.
That actually, if I'm mistaken, that happened in Haiti and it happened in the DR.
Yes,
Oh,
it was
my
wild.
God.
like,
Yeah,
dressed
no.
up and everything.
Oh no!
But then I heard, where is it? Indonesia, where they take out their loved ones once a year to change their clothing, and
Out.
they practice that to this day.
they take them out of the
Out
burial.
of their grave,
What?
yeah. They take them out of the burial. You could actually, if you go to TikTok, I think you can find a video on that.
What?
But they take them once a year and change their clothing. It's like a ritual. They change their clothing, bury them again.
Every year.
Every year.
I'm moving. I'm not a part of that, Coach. Like
Indonesia?
I will move. Yeah, I will move.
Yeah, it's see, but then again, it's traditions, bro. You got to respect them. Like even if they come and say, you know what, again, I'm a faithful believer in God. And I think everything I've done has been through Him, right? But you got to respect other people's religions.
Yeah, for
Someone
sure.
may come and say, you know what, I'm a Satanist, and you just got to do what you got to do, man. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Like it's you got to respect other people, and I think that's where it gets.
Because your
interesting for
job,
you.
it's you know what I mean? Like you gotta, it
It's
is
a job,
what it
not
is.
feelings. Feelings and job is two different things. You gotta
Yeah, so
separate
you got
the two.
sometimes you just got to check your feelings and put them off to the side while you're doing the service. You know, you get back to feeling bad once everything is done, but the families do count on you to be strong for them.
Yeah.
Well, you get to see everybody stripped down like to their soul, man. Like the people that are in the at the funeral, they're like at their most vulnerable. It's a lot of the time. So
And you got to. That's what I say. You got to cater to them. You got to make sure they're fine. You know, they got to know that they could trust you to guide them through that moment. You know.
Yeah.
And you know, I realize because some of the families that I've helped to this day I think I consider to be good friends.
Wow.
So that's going to.
Has there been any services where like nobody actually like really showed up and like
He's all thinking about this.
I mean shit, everybody's not
Like-
loved and everybody don't have friends.
I had a-
So
I had a service where we did all the preparations, did everything, family paid for everything, ready to go. We go out, set up the casket, get everything ready. 3 people showed up.
Dang.
The 3 people that paid for the funeral services.
Yeah.
And then like what he
And
was
not
like,
even all of them. Like just three of the ones that paid. The rest didn't go.
That's crazy.
I didn't question what happened.
Yeah.
Or what
did you have to? Was that more of one where you had to be more supportive, or like you tried to have to show more love? You
just kind of did your job.
I talked to them and everything, but the 3 of them that were there didn't want to be there.
Oh
They
shit.
were just there out of.
Respect
Yeah,
in a
out of
sense.
respect,
but
I guess, yeah.
They probably were mad at this dude. He probably did something.
Again, I don't know what he did, but they were there and they didn't want to
Imagine
be
like nobody showing up at your funeral. That's crazy.
crazy.
there. And then you have other funerals where it's like you don't know where to put them. Like you literally do not know where to put. I've had funerals where it's like 500 people deep.
Oh my gosh.
And it's like, where do you put so many people? Because most funeral homes hold about 200 people.
Yeah.
So it's like the parking lot is full of cars and people between the cars, and it just turns into this big old thing. You know what I mean? I mean, it's some of them you could tell are loved. Some, I think everybody's loved in their own way. Some are gonna show up and some are not. One of the things that a lot of people do, and they do, especially Latinos, is let's do a service near where our family could come and our compadres and all that, and they don't end up showing up. So like I always tell them, the funeral service, your loved one already moved on. The funeral service is about the immediate family. Everybody else, if they want to come, they'll show up. If they don't, they're not. Some I had come from, what was it? They came from Stockton, I think, on a bus for the service. Service was done. He went back, got back on the bus, and went back home because he had to work the following day. So I had people come from other states, come to the service, and leave right back. So it's like, and then somebody that's like 5 minutes away can't show up.
Yeah. That's good that you give them that advice. Like, hey, just they're past that. It's for the immediate family. You just do it where it's affordable to you.
And,
You know what I
and
mean?
anybody who wants to support is going to support. Anybody that doesn't, it's not. Simple as that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there any last words you want to say to the audience? Anything. Doesn't matter what it is. About business, about whatever.
One of the things I could say is start taking this serious. I mean, love your family. Enjoy the time you have. Be grateful for every single day that you have. But start thinking about this because it's inevitable. If you have old timers, start thinking about your old timers. Start spending time with your family. If you have parents, damn it, spend time with your parents. Call them up, talk to them. If you have kids, spend time with them. If you have grandkids, spend time with them. Just make sure that every day is valuable.
Yeah.
And then pay a little more attention to this because this is going to be needed whether you like it or not. We're all headed in the same direction.
Yeah.
You just got the people that are prepared and the ones that are not.
Just put Howls over Baaz on my casket. I appreciate you coming out.
Get them.
Do the shed the sheep.
So shed the sheep is our slogan. So on 3, we're gonna cut the cameras and say shed the sheep. 1, 2, 3.
Shed the sheep. Howls over Baaz. I'm Jacob Casas.
I'm Rico Savage.
I'm Melanie.
And I'm Martin Mireles.
We appreciate you coming on, man. It was a good interview. Let's go. Howls over Baaz. We're out.
Thank you for having me, brother.